Welcome to FryAI. Let's jump into the news. So this first story is very cool. It's about this new software that lets users upload images to LLMs, or not uploads them, but just puts their images out on the internet. And they have a little trick pixels inside of those images, and it tricks the LLM into thinking that the image is something that it's not. So for example, you could upload a picture of a cat, put this little secret pixel inside of the image, and it will trick the LLM like ChatGPT or Claude.ai or the various other LLMs out there to think that it's a dog. It can be done for a lot of things. You can trick things into thinking something's a skyscraper when really it's an anthill. It's very cool because it protects the people that want their images and data protected, and they do not want it scraped by these LLMs. Now, there are ways to prevent your data from being scraped, but who knows? There's hundreds of LLMs out there. I know you just know about probably the popular ones like ChatGPT and Llama 2 and Claude.ai like we've talked about before. The software is called Nightshade. It's using to poison this training data and could damage future iterations of image generation AI models such as DALL-E 3, Midjourney, Stable Diffusion by rendering some of these outputs useless. So yeah, I spoke before about ChatGPT, which does use DALL-E 3. And a lot of these chatbots also incorporate images. So this is more for the image features, not the chat features of LLMs, just to be clear. Now, it was started by a professor at the University of Chicago who led the team that created Nightshade. He says that the hope is that it will help tip the power balance back from AI companies towards artists. So again, it's been a big story in the news how all these artists out there are upset that their image and likeness is being used without their knowledge. So for example, on Midjourney, you can go in right now, type in /imagine in Yellowstone Park, and then put a comma after that and say, in the style of Ansel Adams, right? And it will give you a picture that looks like an Ansel Adams picture, which is very cool. And that's great for the people that want to use that picture, but what about the artists that don't want their likeness? And because Ansel Adams, for example, has a very specific look and feel to their pictures. So say if you were an artist that had a very specific look and feel to your pictures, and no one stole the data, no one stole your images per se exactly, but they stole the style of your image that's being used for something else, well, this tool will help with that. Like another example would be Andy Warhol, right? His style is very, very distinct. And if you see a style that looks like that, you're gonna be like, oh, that's an Andy Warhol style. Whether Andy Warhol made it or not, you can make these images on Midjourney, DALL-E 3, Stable Diffusion right now. So this tool sort of prevents that. The team has also developed Glaze, a tool that allows artists to mask their own personal style to prevent it from being scraped by AI companies. There's two parts to this. There's the Nightshade that poisons the picture, that tricks the LLM to thinking it's a picture it's not. And then there's Glaze, which we just spoke about. It covers up the style of the artist. So it covers up the Ansel Adams aspect or the Andy Warhol aspect of the style of the image. So very interesting. And you can see it here. This is for Nightshade that poisons the images. Remember, there's two tools here. So as you can see, this is the clean version, dog. You type in dog for your prompt, it's gonna put out a dog. But if there's 50 images that are poisoned and those images were scraped or inputted into the LLM, this is what it would look like here. It doesn't look too much like a dog anymore. It looks some kind of like some deformed animal. Now, if 100 poison samples, so if 100 people poison it, look at that. Looks like a cat. 300, and that's a cat right there. So it's very cool. Yeah, we'll go to a car here. So you can see it progressively gets worse, and it eventually turns into a cow. And here's all the examples over here. Very, very cool. The professor admits there is risks to this because people can go on and try to poison the LLM nefariously. Like they don't have any kind of images they're trying to protect or data they're trying to protect. So they just go and poison these LLMs on purpose. So that brings up a good question, like what's gonna happen with this? And to me, it sounds like it's gonna be a war. Like there's gonna be a war on AI. There's gonna be all these tools like Nightshade and this Glaze right here, and they're gonna try to fight versus the chatbots and the image generators. And it's just gonna be an all-out war, and we don't know what's gonna happen. Who's gonna come out on top? I'm really not sure. But it's going to be a battle. I think there's going to be tools like these open source tools. They're going to battle AI chatbots, and then the chatbot and the image generators are going to fight back, try to protect themselves, and it's just going to go back and forth. It's probably going to be something like antivirus software, where there's always going to be a back and forth. And AI will probably win out if you had to ask me. So let's get into the next story. I hate talking about politics, but we have to because it's part of AI. The regulation on AI is going to be very important, and that's going to come from the government. White House to unveil sweeping AI executive order next week. The order would require advanced AI models to undergo assessments before they can be used by federal workers and ease barriers to entry for highly skilled workers. So basically what Joe Biden's going to do, he's going to sign an executive order that would leverage the US government's role as top technology customer by requiring advanced AI models to undergo assessments before they can be used by federal workers, according to 3 people involved. It's probably a smart thing to do, to be honest. You don't want to have AI be used by the Department of Defense without some kind of regulation or it going through some kind of testing. I mean, God knows what would happen. Now, the problem with all this is, and if you're not from the US, is that this is just an executive order. It doesn't have a lot of teeth to it. You really need Congress to get involved and pass some serious laws. Like the European Union's already doing that. They've got this EU AI Act, which they're going to be implementing soon, and that has some real teeth to it. But an executive order can be overturned pretty easily in the United States. Now, the good news is I think both Republicans and Democrats both want something for regulation against AI. It's probably one of the only times that they're going to agree on something. Things are very chaotic here in the US. Europe is way ahead, it sounds like, in terms of regulation, and the US is just dilly-dallying around, passing executive orders. We need some real laws passed in Congress to make a difference. Right now, they've just met with big players in the OpenAI space. I think like Cohere and OpenAI and Sam Altman, like Chuck Schumer has met with these people. But I mean, it's like, I don't know, it's like the boss meeting with his employees and the employees telling the boss what to do. Yeah, that can help, but you need a leader in there to say, no, we're going to do it this way. And I don't have any faith in the government to do that. We'll see how this all plays out. Regulations are definitely coming. It's just a matter of if they're going to be here on time or not. So the assessments of large language models, those are performed by a government agency. It's called red teaming, and that's going to be led by the National Institute of Standards of Technology. So that's the government agency that's going to oversee looking at AI and regulating it, or at least being the lawful arm that does that. So it's the NIST. The last story tonight is Amazon. They're using a new generative AI tool that enables advertisers to up their game and create more engaging ads. So you might ask, what is this, right? Amazon found that among advertisers who were unable to build successful campaigns, nearly 75% cited building and choosing a creative format as their biggest challenge. So Amazon is creating a tool that allows advertisers, if they want to sell something like a toaster down here, this image right here, to make it easy to put that toaster in any kind of background context they want. You might only have a picture of your toaster that you want to sell, and it's just a blank picture like this one right here, and you don't have a background, you don't have anywhere to display the toaster to make a pretty image, and you don't have time to do that either. So Amazon's letting you take that toaster and put any kind of background or context you want for that toaster, which is really cool. We're going to get into a video here that shows you how it's done. So you enter your products right here. You can enter multiple products, which is cool. And then it's going to show you what your products are. And you can add anything you want. Product in a kitchen, product outside, product in the middle of the ocean, whatever you can think of, whatever is appropriate for your product, you can enter that as a text prompt right here, which is awesome. You can make an image, and if you bought anything from Amazon before, the image can look drastically different than what you get in person. There should probably be some kind of disclaimer there to make sure that the person knows whether the background is AI generated or not, because it makes the image look way better than it really is in real life. At least from that video it does. So finally tonight, we do like to add one cool tool to the end of every night's video. So this tool is a very cool tool. We mentioned it in the last news video, but we didn't go in depth on it. We'll go a little bit in depth on it here. But basically, FryAI, it's a tool where you can take this little device right here, plug it into your car, and make it a self-assisted driving car, even if your car does not have self-assisted driving. It makes a dumb car smart for the most part. It runs off of OpenPilot, which is an open source software that can be found on GitHub. Anybody can use it. And the product's called Comma 3, which you can buy right here. It can be used right now. Nobody knows about this tool, or not most people know about it, but you can use it right now, buy it, put it in your car, and you have hands-free driving on the freeway. It's mostly used on the freeway. You can learn more about it in our podcast, Behind the Bots, but it's used 56% of the time on the freeway. So if you have long drives, you go on 2 or 3 hours at a time, buy this product. We don't get any compensation from this, but it makes me want to buy it. But my car is a Jeep Patriot, and it's not compatible with it because it's such an old car. But most new cars, or even cars like 3, 4, 5 years old, will work with this product. The cool thing about this, it doesn't use rules-based AI, it uses human behavior-based AI to drive the car. So it drives the car based on studies on human behaviors, and those studies are done in a simulator. So that's it for tonight. Hope you had a great night. Hope you enjoy this. I really like doing this, and we'll be doing more of these. We have to skip some from night to night because we have technical difficulties setting this up. It's all new to me and the editor as well. Thanks again for tuning in. Ivana is our editor. She does a great job. Shout out to her. Please subscribe to our email newsletter at fry-ai.com/subscribe. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow night. This is Ryan signing out. Take care.